Hello, this is going to be a review of the Merchant Ivory film distributed by Janus Films and the Criterion Collection. Maurice, this is again one of the Merchant Ivory films. This is directed by James Ivory. It's one of the first feature film debuts or not debuts, but one of the first feature films for James Wilby, Hugh Grant, um, Rupert Graves. I can never remember if it's Rupert or Richard Graves. Very, very young. It's actually Hugh Grant's second film, his first being a film he did at Oxford as a student, so arguably this is Hugh Grant's first film. Same goes for Rupert Graves. He did a bit in Room with the View, another Merchant Ivory film, and then this was his second. James Wilby had about 5 or 6 before this, so that's a pretty impressive feat for this film. There's also some stars rounding out the cast. Ben Kingsley plays a very brief role in here as well. Um, but good group of people making this movie. The plot is basically two young boys, young men, at Cambridge College in England in sort of pre-World War I Britain, 1900s to sort of early 19 teens. Fall in love. As you can expect, that's a very taboo topic. That's not something that's very not as easy to work through as some modern films. For example, Weekend, which is down here somewhere. I don't know. It's down there somewhere. But the Andrew Haigh film Weekend, which is a very sort of much easier life that gays led then. Than they do in this movie. So it works through a lot of those tensions that being in love with a member of the same sex brings. But yeah, I won't really spoil the plot details other than to say around the halfway point, that coupling kind of splits. Hugh Grant's character decides he's got to find a woman to marry. James Wilby's character has a tough time accepting that, and kind of, I don't want to say he goes crazy, but he starts to. That's what you think the path is going down, and then he finds a second member. So it's kind of Hugh Grant goes down the sort of heterosexual marriage, or the traditional route that you're supposed to go down for a male of that time, whereas James Wilby kind of sticks to his guns. So it kind of plays out in really fun ways. Yeah, again, I'm not going to spoil the plot points because I really want you to watch this movie. If you can't guess already, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie. I would say it's probably, I'd have to rewatch it again, but it's probably going to make a top 10, top 20 list of some kind as far as favorite films. The aesthetic is really, really strong as far as the music is concerned. It's a sort of orchestral, string-heavy score, which really adds a nice touch to it. There's also very a strong interjection of pipe organs, so adding, in my opinion at least, adding a religious subtext to the film, a sort of tension, instead of having that deep string sort of bass line. They bring in the pipe organ, which adds, when there's a tense moment, you have a pipe organ. In my opinion, it's almost like the sounds of the church coming, or the rapture or something. So nice touch there. The color palette and the cinematography, the views, the landscapes, the buildings, everything is just remarkable. The costuming, the way the film is shot, as far as the sort of constant gray mist fogginess that you get to that era, everything is just so well done. This is, it's incredible filmmaking, and the thing that I really think is stunning is the fact that this movie was made in 1987, which is the same year that ACT UP, the AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power, was formed. And so this is a movie that takes a very compassionate and friendly view towards homosexuality in a year that the group arguably responsible for advocating for and fighting for a treatment, not necessarily a cure, but a treatment for HIV positive and people living with AIDS. That's the climate that this movie was released in, which is stunning to think about. The fact that the production values were so high, and that the gross sort of intake of this movie was fairly substantial. This is an art house film about queer life. That's released in the '80s. That's baffling to me that it is as strong as it is. I'm not making a value judgment that I'm surprised that a gay movie did well, but that a gay movie in that climate did well. Um, yeah, I loved the movie. Going back to the sort of compassionate take on homosexuality, it oftentimes you hear these movies like Philadelphia or Brokeback Mountain, queer cinema classics, which I highly disagree with, um, touted as again sort of very progressive or something like that. But always in the end of those major LGBT type movies, somebody dies, somebody um, is unhappy or miserable, or a relationship ends or something. There's never a happy ending in those types of movies. There's always this just constant bombardment of shitty things happening to the protagonists, um, that I could argue theoretical points for, but I won't. But it reveals something about society and the culture that we live in, the violence towards the queer community. Maurice was released 25, 26 years ago in the middle of the AIDS crisis, and takes such a compassionate view towards human beings, which I really, it's such a refreshing thing for me. Um, I seek out movies like this all the time that take this kind of lens towards the LGBT community, towards homosexuality, towards transgender people, towards things of that sort. Um, yeah, I'm stunned. I really loved how it. There's very few movies that take that angle, and this was one of them. And so it's kind of a relic, or something that I cherish, something that I put up on a pedestal, something that I want more people to see, something that I will advocate for other people to see because I'm just in love with the movie. As for the disc itself, or the set itself, again, it comes with that original film on disc one, which stunning picture quality, stunning sound quality. This is the DVD copy. This movie only is released on DVD, I think. It's actually out of print now. So I would encourage you, if you find a copy, even if you think maybe you might watch it, possibly sometime, buy it. Um, Otherwise, seek it out. I originally came to this movie through the library. I had never heard of it before, which is surprising because, again, I seek out these types of movies. I made it about an hour through the movie before it started skipping, but I was so engrossed in what I was watching that I actually bought the movie that night so that I could finish it. Um, but yeah, it's got that just remarkable picture on the first disc, and then the second disc has a couple of special features. There is no audio commentary, which I was kind of bummed about. There's a conversation with the filmmakers, which has Ismail Merchant, and James Ivory, the director. Merchant Ivory, talking about how they made this movie. It's about 15 minutes long. It's got some pretty cool insight into the making of the movie. Ivory read it, I think, as a student, but it goes into some of the backstory of how he first came to that book, and about shooting. For example, this was he talks about how they came to shoot at Trinity College, and this was the first movie shot at Trinity College in Cambridge. So that was cool. Um, he talks a little bit about E.M. Forster, the author of the book that this is based on, his life, and just to give you some backstory there, E.M. Forster was a novelist, a gay man, but didn't. He wrote this book, I think, in like the 19 teens, but didn't release it, or the book wasn't released until after his death in the 1970s. So again, that just shows you the kind of climate that these guys are operating in. That even the author of the book upon which the movie was based was reluctant to release it. He was friends with Christopher Isherwood, who is responsible for the sort of short book A Single Man, which there was a movie released a few years back, also very good. I wouldn't say it takes a compassionate view towards gay life, but it takes a sort of artistic or beautiful touch. Very nice score by Abel Krasakowski, I think, a Polish composer. Yeah, seek that movie out too. That's a good one. But yeah, so there's that conversation with the filmmakers, which was really cool. There's a making of Maurice where they go back and talk with the stars, talk with the director, The screenwriter, I don't remember who else. I didn't finish that yet. It's like half an hour long. It's not that long. I just didn't. I had other things to do. But I'll probably finish that after I'm done with this video. And that goes into a lot of how, you know, like Hugh Grant was found and things like that. And again, just knowing that who Hugh Grant is now, and hearing how we came to this project, how he really wasn't going to be an actor. This is arguably a film that is responsible for the Hugh Grant we know today, for better or for worse. And the same for Rupert Graves. Again, just really fascinating insight into how the story was made. What else is on there? Oh, it says over 30 minutes of deleted and alternate scenes. I haven't looked at any of those yet. I will. I typically don't like deleted scenes, but I'm interested to see what was left out. Usually in adaptations of a novel, some of the slower scenes are left out, so I'm assuming I probably didn't miss anything other than rounding out characters and plot points, but again, I'm just excited to dive back into that. And then the theatrical trailer. So it's not a very feature-rich movie, but I paid, I think, $19 for this. And considering that it's out of print now, that will only go up in value, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this sort of review now. Again, find this movie. Watch it however you can. Just really seek this one out. This is remarkable. If for nothing other than the way it looks, the way it sounds, the sort of way it approaches these just standard techniques, you know, mise en scène and things of that sort. But diving deeper, this is a movie that really warrants kind of some academic research. Diving back into it, I'm really probably gonna read the book too. It's one of those movies that just I want to get more of. I want to sink my teeth into. Yeah, I haven't read the essay yet, but I'll probably also read that tonight. But again, please watch this movie. And thank you for watching.